Well, hello friends! Welcome back to Belle's Library. I'm Heather and we're here to talk about my 2021 reading goals. So we are sitting here at my desk today so I can kind of be checking out my goals on my computer here, and also because I'm going to show you guys a few graphics that I put together with some books that I want to read and kind of prioritize a little bit this year, so I don't get lost in my TBR. So I want to be able to see those and show you at the same time so we can chit chat about them. Let's just go ahead and jump into a bunch of these goals. If you haven't already, get down below and click subscribe so you guys don't miss more of my content, and we'll go ahead and start with my first goal. So we're just going to talk about my overall quantity of books I would like to read in 2021. So in 2020, I read 103 books, and I thought it was a fun idea. Becca in the book, she actually adds one book on top of what she read the year before to her goal. So I was like, that's a fun idea. So we're going to do 104 books. That is my goal to read in 2021. This averages to between 8 and 9 books per month, which I definitely think I could do. In 2020, a majority of the months that I was reading, I did read at least that much. There's only a few months that I read a little bit less, so it all evened out, and I think that we could definitely make that happen. So my next goal is that I really want to try and catch up or finish at least half of the series that I have started in 2020. So I did make a graphic for this, and I'll go ahead and put it up for you guys. So I have 39 books that are sequels that I need to read, and like I said, I want to try to get to at least half of these, which would be, about 20 books. When I'm making goals, I really try to make them as specific as possible so that I actually have like a measurable thing to go after. We're taught in nursing to always make SMART goals, so specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And so I have the time in there for 2020, or the year of 2021. It's measurable. I want to do half of that amount, so that's 20 books. And so that kind of breaks down to, I'm going to try to put 2 a month on my TBR of sequels. Another thing that I really want to try to do is not start a series until I have finished a different one, so that I'm not starting a bunch more series and getting myself into even more trouble with this. So you will notice that I have a couple of books on here, like Blood and Honey. I have 2 of, because the third one in that trilogy is actually coming out this year, but they haven't released a cover. So that's what that is. That might be the only one that I don't have a cover for. But I'm already actually working through a couple of these books in January here, and so that is promising. So another thing that I really wanted to focus on was reading more books from authors of color, and just trying to find books that, will expound my reading as well as my learning and experiences and whatnot. And last year in 2020, I read about 20% of the books were books that were from a person of color, and I want to try and increase that to 30%, so a 10% increase. I'm going to do this by reading between 3 and 4 books each month that are going to be from authors of color. That's how I'm going to kind of break it down on my TBR. I've kind of started a little bit of a graphic with some of these books, but I am still kind of adding to it and tweaking it a little bit. Mainly the graphic that I've made is just I've pulled from the other graphics and just kind of put those into their own graphic. And so I'm going to be seeking out throughout the year more books that I can kind of add into this graphic as well. So I also, in 2021, really want to try and do some more rereads. I really enjoy rereading books that I already know I love. I feel like I get a couple things. Sometimes I'm just getting that really comforting, wonderful feeling that I already know that I love this book and I just want to enjoy it again. Or sometimes it's just nice to go back and, like, especially with fantasy or like sci-fi, go back and reread books because you like catch things that you forgot, or you didn't remember, or maybe now that you know the ending, you're like, oh yeah, that totally fits in there. So I would like to, you know, try and do a little bit more of that. I do have a small graphic for this one with a few books that I'm interested in rereading. These are all more standalones versus series. I definitely would be happy to go back and reread some of the books that I've read in the series before I start like their sequel that I haven't started, but we'll see kind of how that goes throughout the year. But I would like to try to maybe do about one reread per month throughout the year. So one of my biggest graphics that I have is my backlist graphic, and it's actually 2 pages here. This one, yeah, I have a lot of books on here. But basically, the whole reason that I made this graphic was because I was kind of getting lost in my Goodreads TBR. I didn't want to lose books that I was hearing and interested in, so I would always just add them into my Goodreads so that I would remember them. But my Goodreads my TBR is like 600 or 700 books or something, which is crazy. And then when I would go to pick up a book, I would pick up like whatever book was available, or I'd just kind of randomly pick one, or I don't know, whatever it was. And then I'd be like, shoot, I really wanted to read this book or that book. So I tried to accumulate a chunk of books that were like priority ones where it's like, I really want to get to these. And so I can go to this graphic, and these are like the chunk that I'm like, okay, I want to read these. I've been wanting to read these. Let's start here, see if there's a book within this that I want to get my hands on, or that I can get my hands on before I like go to the monstrosity of my Goodreads TBR. So I can keep myself a little more focused. And that is really why I made a lot of these graphics. So my goal with this one is I would like to try to read about 1/3 of the books on my backlist graphic here. And so, I mean, we'll see how that goes, but I feel like that's a thing I could definitely do. And the nice thing about these graphics is I can like go through and check off the ones that I've done throughout the year, and I can see like that I'm making progress. And I definitely intend to make a update video about 6 months into the year to see how all these goals are going. Because if you never check back on your goals, then when you come around to next year in January, you're never going to actually have attained them, or it's gonna be a really big surprise. And so I really wanna make sure that I'm actually attaining these goals and checking in on them and really seeing where they're going. I also this year decided that I'm gonna start a new TBR game, and it is Belle's Bookland, and I'm really excited about it. It's based off of like a Candyland kind of thing, but a little bit different, and I think it's gonna be really fun, and it's gonna help me like choose different genres or different books that maybe I wouldn't originally choose, and just kind of make my TBRs interesting and just help me pick books, because sometimes I just get really overwhelmed and then I won't read a book because I just am like, I can't figure out what the heck I want to read because there's just too many. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm hoping that it is just really fun and that you guys enjoy it as well. This one's kind of a quick little goal, but I would like to try and read one book from the Buzzwordathon word each month. So Kayla over at Books and Lala does the Buzzwordathon, readathon, but she decided to just make it like a year-long thing where you can, basically there's like a word or a category or something for each month of the year. And so in January, the word is dream. And so I know in February, it's a color. So you just have to find a book that has a color in the title. So yeah, I just want to try and find like one book each month that kind of relates into that, because I think that's just kind of fun and unique, and I really enjoy Kayla's channel, so we're gonna go with it. I also would really like to read more horror and sci-fi books, both genres that I'm kind of new to and getting into, but very much enjoying. So for horror, last year in 2020, I read 9 books, and for sci-fi, I only read 3, which is kind of crazy to me. That doesn't seem right, because I can think of 4 right now that I read. So maybe it's 4, and I categorized something not as sci-fi? That's weird. So it might be 4. Anyways, I want to just increase these, maybe try and include like 1 horror and 1 sci-fi month or something. I'm not sure exactly. This is one of the ones I'm not as measurable with. But I'm hoping my TBR game will actually help with this. Another big goal for me is I really need to read the books that are on my shelves. I end up getting so many books from the library because I get interested in this and that and this and that, and I want to be part of this discussion, and I want to do this over here, this readathon, and so then I'm like all over the place, but I have books on my TBR at home that I really need to read. So at the end of 2020, I had read 58 books on my bookshelves, and I had 76 books that I had that were unread. So 43% of my books on my bookshelves were books that I actually had read. I would like to try to get this up to 63%. So that's a pretty big jump, but I definitely think I could do it. And I would like to make sure that each month I'm choosing at least like 2 to 4 books off my bookshelf to read, and just really making sure that I'm prioritizing it. I also reorganized my bookshelf so that the top of it is my books that I've read, and then I have a different bookshelf that I also have books I've read on. And then all my unreads are towards the bottom few shelves. So as I'm unreading them, I can move them up into the red. And I'm hoping that that section on the top is just going to slowly get bigger, and I'll only have a couple shelves of unread towards the bottom, or the last shelf on the bottom, or something. I don't know. We're almost there. I only have a couple more goals here. I would like to make sure that I'm continuing to read books with LGBTQ plus rep. In 2020, I read 13 books in this category. I'm hoping to get to at least 20 in 2021, and I think that's definitely possible. I need to just get at least 1 to 2 on my TBR each month, so we can do that for sure. Kind of touched on this a little bit already, but I would like to make sure that I'm using my graphics to kind of prioritize some of my reading that I really want to do. Maybe make it a little less overwhelming for me. And the last thing is just, booktube related. I would like to be better about planning and getting ahead with some of my videos, and already having like at least 1 week already uploaded. So if I'm working on videos this week, therefore I've already have like 2 uploaded, and I'm working on the ones that are next after that. So I'm just a little bit more ahead, so then if something happens in my life or whatever, I'm not putting out content because I'm too busy or this is going on. I've already kind of got it up, and then I can just kind of catch up the next week. And just kind of planning my videos out a little bit better ahead of time. I want to be a little more consistent with getting 2 videos up a week. I was pretty good, except for like in October when school got crazy, and then in January here because I moved, I got COVID, like things just, they got a little crazy. So again, it just kind of dipped. So I really want to try to avoid those moments and just be consistent, at least 2 videos a week. I think I probably could do a little bit more than 2 videos a week, but that's like, at least I want to get that much going. I also want to get a little bit more involved with some book clubs and their discussions. I just downloaded Discord and joined a couple of Discords, and I also want to try to improve my thumbnail game because I feel like my thumbnails never look very good, and I think that's something that I could work on and make a little bit better. So that is my 2021 reading and booktube goals. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me babble about all of this, and let me know if you guys have some reading goals this year. And also, if you've made it this far, let's see, what emoji could we do? How about like a sun emoji maybe? That would be kind of fun. I'm pretty sure there's suns somewhere in there. That's what's coming to mind right now. So I hope you guys are having an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.